the best I can hope for. Go live. Gone live. Good, I think. Oh, my mic is too loud. Let's make it so when I talk, it's just about getting into the yellow. We'll share this. Share, copy, paste. Okay. I don't expect to get. This isn't like a particularly prime time for when I'd expect people to be ready for the live stream, man. Um, but I always try to do it um, soon after seeing the number as possible, and the number just passed 2,000. Um, cool. It's been a little bit. Um, uh, but yeah, I will start with thank you for 2,000 subscribers. I probably should have actually looked up um, how I did these in the past. It's been long enough that I've completely forgotten what I said. In previous ones, I'll look over them and I guess compare how they went compared to this one. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna say in it. Oh, we got live chat, live and also stream. There we go. We got Discord live. We got YouTube live chat working. Cool. And I'll change top chat to all chat so I can actually see everything. I actually didn't expect to reach 2,000 by this time. Like I guess I have my numbers, don't I? Let's waste time looking at the analytics while I have people watching me live. But there was a while, even relatively recently, where I was like, I don't think I'm actually gonna hit 2,000. Maybe not even this year. Because I was just like, I don't know. I just hadn't been making enough stuff near the start of the year. And I guess that's actually maybe a good topic for this stream about how in so there were a few months where I just kind of disappeared, and then in the first video back after that, I was like, yeah, it's because I found, like I was kind of stressed out with college work and like problems relating to that. Um, well, things are obviously better because I'm obviously back. The reason I got up analytics is because I was like, oh yeah, it was like uh, it was near April, near the start of April, I think, was when I checked, and I was like, I have 1,500 subscribers. Um, at the rate of like starting the year at like 1,400 or whatever, I was like, oh, I might not actually get I might end this year under 2,000. Um, that's probably my fault for like not growing things fast enough and like whatever. But I was like, oh, that's kind of a shame. Um, but either way, the best thing I can do is try. So I'm happy with yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of scrambled from that video when I talked about like being stressed outside of doing videos, and so I hadn't really made videos. I was like, well, I can try. Things are gonna be awesome. I'm just gonna do it anyway, even if I don't expect things to work well, because it's fun. Um, Carried on to now, and I'm at 2,000, and it's only the start of August. So if I keep on going at this rate, it shouldn't be insanely long until 3,000 or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But I will say a big reason for videos being better now and doing doing more of them and that kind of thing is because if you've ever seen me in not particularly recent, but in videos in the last 2 years ish, being in like a studio looking environment, or like if you'd seen big black curtains around me, that was me filming in like a little studio kind of environment. Obviously not one that I own, but one that I had access to because at college I was doing film and TV. So not like media studies, not looking at it, but actually, being taught to make it. And eventually I was like, oh, even though I thought this wouldn't be like media studies, I wouldn't be looking at other people doing things and being like, wow, that's amazing. I would be making my own. It turns out film and TV is actually mostly looking at how other people do things and going, wow, that's amazing. And like 5% of the time making something of your own. So I have quit that. I'm still in college. My brothers are shouting things. I'm gonna have a drink. My voice is. I should have like prepared a tall one. Obviously, I'm still in college. I didn't quit college, but I quit that course. I'm now doing all of my time in college pretty much. Should be programming related things now. I'm doing games design as well as computer science, and that has been great. Um, Already that has made me much more like able to be motivated to do things because videos, making media and any media related things are now completely my job with no, not job. Um, though we can get onto the fact that I am actually monetized now later, because I wasn't the last time we did one of these. Um, but it has been really cool that um, I have been much more motivated for this, and like I've scooched what I'm doing in college like away from this a bit, so that then they're separate and one doesn't affect the other, and I can just completely have fun and enjoy doing this. Um, and I have clearly really enjoyed it. So I really appreciate you all, anyone who watches this VOD probably, or is watching it live, probably contributed to the 2,000 subscriber number. Otherwise, why would you be watching this? So I really appreciate it from you. Monitor really wobbly. I'll try and avoid that. So I really appreciate it from you, and hopefully you can see that things are better now. Because I said in February things will be better and more often, like and be made more often, and I think that they actually are. I will also recognize in Discord chat the spinning shark gif. I appreciate it. I am the happy spinning shark for this live stream. But I will also, just because it's interesting, just in case anyone wants to know, like I'm lucky enough to be in a situation where like I'm now monetized, but I can talk about it without sounding like like the millionaire, like YouTube money people or whatever. I won't give an exact number. I will say my RPM, if you round it, is £1. So assume if ever you see 1,000 views on my channel from now on, and about £1 from it, which is still, considering I get now like 7 to 8,000 views a month, is still pretty good. I will still take it because that's still quite a few microcontrollers. That's still like a lot of electronic parts that I like to mess with. I've got. Do I have anything right next to me? It's like evidence of messing with things. Oh, I don't want to break these. Oh, but the speakers are magnetic, so be it messing with speaker things. Okay. This can now actually pay for little things like that, which is really cool. Same goes with another thing that I didn't have last time, Patreon and stuff. Similarly, that can contribute to stuff. So I think I'm basically just talking about things that have changed since I hit 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, this now actually supports little hobby things that I do, which is kind of cool. And I really appreciate everyone that makes that possible. I also, one thing that I have not done, that I mentioned in February when I kind of came back and I was like, I'll do things more often and do them better, is I've still not done a big, like, artsy whatever video. And that's something I would like to do, every so often. And I was originally going to do it about VR related things. Like I had a little VR video planned that might still be the next video. I'm honestly not sure. Then I was like, I just want to do a big one where I'm like, it's not actually about anything in particular. I'm just like, VR is awesome. Let's make a half an hour long thing about how it's awesome, and specifically PC VR and stuff like that. So I'm still not sure, but I would still like to do that kind of thing. So hopefully the next time I do one of those things, instead of saying I talked about it and it's not done yet, I'll be able to be like, so what did you think of it? Now I've done it actually. Um, hmm. Beyond that, what else has really been going on? I think I think my videos have gotten better. I think somehow they don't look better. That's something I would like to try and figure out. Like my videos actually, it seems like they looked really good at some point, like a yearish ago, a bit longer than a year ago, and then they dipped really far down. And then I think they're like at a midway point. Um, I'm not sure what changed that. Like I know I used to shoot outside more, and now I don't. Um, but I've always shot on my phone, and my phones have like they've only gotten better. So I'm not really sure what that's about. Um, though I would be curious, anyone who's watching um now or watching the pod, have the last two videos looked materially different to you? Um, I would expect not. I guess if they don't look worse, at least, then we're succeeding. But hopefully, the dynamic range should be better. That's something that is like a pretty obvious change. Um, I should have to care less about making lighting work. Uh, and maybe in some future shots in other videos, when I get used to the different ways that I can use lighting, um, hopefully it should be noticed that dynamic range is better. Um, yeah. Um, and once I get more data on that, I can reveal why that is. I haven't bought a camera. I'm not using a proper camera. Maybe that's one day in the future. Yeah, I can't say I've noticed, but there's quite a time gap. Yeah. Um, hmm. Is there anything else to talk about? I guess also since the since the last thing, since the last time I did a stream like this, let me move my thing up because I've kind of moved down. Since the last thing, my chair broke, so now it's a different one. Um, but also, I have I forget whether I mentioned it in the last one. Maybe it is a less recent thing. I have more accepted my status of being like a Linux tuber. Um, I still try to avoid referring to myself as like a YouTuber because, like, well, no. Um, this platform is great. They gave me free cinema tickets last week. Um, YouTube is the best platform for making videos and finding videos and live streaming and basically everything other than like making money through Patreon style things, which is why I have Patreon. Um, so like I'm not a YouTube specific creator, but just using I think a webcam is off center on the screen. Uh, kind of is. I think I'm just off center. Um, and now that little whatever that line is on my head, um, now I should be about centered. But yeah, the chat. Um, but yeah, despite me going kind of weird about the word itself, accepting my status as more of a Linux tuber than how I initially saw myself more aligning with just like tech channels. That was where this started, and trying to do reviews of things and that, and it's obviously I've talked about in the past how like I don't really think, for the most part, I don't really think I fit into doing reviews because I don't want to go over every single aspect of a product, even the bits that are not relevant to me and I don't care about, and have to try and make my use of tech weird so that then I can make a well-rounded review for people. If I'm going to talk about technology, I want it to be my interesting side of things. Like I think that's how I started my Surface Book 2 video, which is still my laptop. Um, it, oh, I can't pick it up because it doesn't have feet. It's still my laptop. I started that with like, this is not a review typically. This is for like, if you think you use things kind of like me based on what you've seen from previous videos, maybe this will be helpful because these are the things I've noticed. Yeah, so where I had originally associated myself more with like normal, like all-rounder tech channels, I was like, well, not really. And then someone, could I find the comment? I think someone referred to me as a Linux YouTuber, or Linux tuber, like whatever. I don't know how I find it. Linux. Nope. That one? Nope. Okay, well, whatever. I saw a comment at some point being like, another Linux YouTuber, good video. And I was like, no, I don't think most of my videos are related to Linux. But then actually more and more now, they are becoming at least somewhat related to that. So I don't think I'm strictly a Linux YouTuber, but I like the fact that I'm moving more to doing like content that content. I said the word I'm not supposed to. Videos that I just had with like YouTuber on my mind. Oh, damn it. But making videos where my experience is the interesting part. And often that will relate to Linux, but also just like more deep tech things. Like not in the same way Gamers Nexus or like LTT Labs is meant to be deep, where it's like we take this product and we test it super hard in all the different, rounded ways, like a review, but deep. I just mean I make videos where it's me kind of sporadically just going, oh, I thought about this last fortnight. Let me tell you about it because I found it interesting and I spent a long time researching it or whatever. And that sparked the FreeBSD video because I'm looking at it now because I had Creator Studio anyway. And the becoming more independent online, the USB drive one, I use a NAS now, the AR glasses one. That was me actually just thinking that I could use them normally, and it turns out actually I hadn't really assessed them particularly well. The reverse engineered software thing, just coming from things that I use. I think I'm figuring out my interesting niche. I hope that the better momentum of the channel as of late is because people are finding that interesting. I like to think I'm making, as time has gone on, I'm making less and less things where you could have just swapped me out for someone else and it would have been the same. Where if anyone else had had that idea or access to that product, they could have made it. I think I'm doing more and more interesting things that are related to like specifically what I'm interested in and what I'm good at. And hopefully that will only happen more and more as I get better at programming. Because I still have to eventually, and I would like to start soon, I still have to replace this eventually. I got a good deal on it when I got it. I think it was like 20 or 30 pounds. I can only find these elsewhere used for significantly more than that. I don't have the money reasonably to replace this microphone when it breaks, and it's already breaking. Like the flap on the SD card slot is gone, so it'll be less water resistant now. For whatever reason, batteries, it just dies really quick now. Not like the batteries are degrading. Even if I put new batteries in, I don't even know how that works. I don't know, some contact somewhere is corroding and more resistance, more voltage drop. Like I have no idea how that would be the case, but making my own microphone / slash recorder thing to replace this. Making my own lights and just generally making my own technology along with Blueberry things eventually. Once I get back to that, I hope that and deep dives on things that just interested me that week will be my standout kind of niche. On even if that category isn't particularly niche, like I in that niche will be like special just because of my interests. This time I really I don't even have notes. I keep looking at the screen because it's kind of awkward to look into the camera lens, or like a webcam lens when I know there could be chat. So I'm just I have like Creator Studio and Discord there for the chat. So I don't know whether I should just end it here because I think I've basically, even if not very well, I think I've basically covered everything. Other than that, I just really appreciate it. This is great. Like making videos is just great. Having everyone on Patreon and YouTube memberships. Yeah, I'll do what I normally do at the end of videos. I really appreciate it. Russell Willis, PT1997, Hightech, and Ducky. They are my current patrons as of right now. I have appreciated the fact that like there's just been a lot of positivity as of the last little while. Good videos, good comments, interesting people coming in and talking about interesting things both in the Discord and the comments. Things are trending up, and I like that, and I think I understand more where the channel is going. I will say, actually, before I go, it was something I thought of before this. It has been awkward that as I have gotten more views, there are more people who just don't get it. Like, I'm gonna have a drink again. Like, people who clearly haven't watched the whole video, or even if it's my fault that I got across a point badly, people who are not willing to entertain the fact that I didn't want to mislead anyone or anything, and they're just like, this was stupid, you're just wrong, or like, just your point makes no sense, I'm actually, I'm actually super smart and I know you're super wrong, get real. It's somewhat awkward that like I think today, I won't name and shame because like that's I'm not a huge fan of it, but even today, I think I just scrolled through and saw like 3 of those that I hadn't seen before. I was just like, kind of a shame to know that I am making things that just a few people don't understand. And is that me making things that don't get points across well? Or is that just people who just don't care enough to look at things and understand them well enough before talking about them? Realistically, I know it's a bit of both. I can talk to chat. Autofocus is autofocus going wrong? Sorry, I had YouTube Studio open. Let me know, both of you, if you're still there now that you've asked questions. Both of you in YouTube chat who have said something, they're still there. But yes, you have made it in time for the ending. And then I had some more stuff to do, so actually, more stuff to say. So actually, it's not quite the ending yet. But yeah, at the very least, Mark is still here. Becco, I'm actually not sure how to say that. I would say that Becco, but then that feels wrong for a name. But Becco, I'm still here. Is the autofocus being weird? I guess it is. Kind of. I'm scared of turning off autofocus on this camera though, because it always breaks. I thought I was going to have to do something else, like use the PlayStation 5 camera. I don't have a PlayStation 5. It just turns out the PlayStation 5 like ecosystem of things it seems to be able to be found relatively cheap used. You know, like my video on how I got the PlayStation 5 controller for £1. I think that was like 2 years ago now. Still going strong. £1 controller. Did I... What is the video? What video? Not video. What am I looking for? I can't find the PlayStation 5 camera, but it's somewhere. Oh, it's disabled. Oh, right, yes. Sorry, I got very... I keep getting distracted. If I'm ever given the chance to just talk, I get distracted by many things. I got onto the PlayStation 5 camera, PlayStation 5 controller, which I'll put back. Because of you mentioning autofocus, this webcam seems to be breaking. Like, it's doing things that I would normally just associate with, like, USB instability, whatever, you know, try a different part, try a different controller. But that just happens more and more and more. And sometimes it will just freeze. And especially, like, if it's at a higher resolution, it's more likely to freeze faster. Yes, also, if I do other things, other high bandwidth things connected to the same USB controller as it, it'll freeze faster. And, you know, audio stops and I just have to break things. So I'm like, let's try not adjusting things. Let's just try it. I'm going to double click it. It didn't break. Maybe it's better now. Autofocus is turned off. Well, that's not true. Let's try pressing it. And if I disappear, and if you think I've stopped talking, give me a minute, and we'll plug it back in. Oh, nothing? Oh, okay. So autofocus is ticked now, and it's still autofocusing, and then I turn it off. Looks like autofocus is off now. So if something freezes, then we know that's why. Yeah, autofocus good. Okay, I just got annoyed. So yeah, this webcam always breaks. I was worried about having to set up a more complicated solution. Seems like it was fine though. Anyway, I'll answer. But yes, you made it in time for the ending. And then the ending has been postponed because now I have more interesting things to talk about. How do I plan on improving my content, videos, and my spread of information? My spread of information, I don't worry super hard about because I know if I make good things, it's too optimistic to say if you make good things, people will find them. It's not. There are so many good videos that just have no views. Both, in my opinion, both from me, but not too many. But also, like, there were just tons that I come across, and I'm just like, this is so interesting. Why is no one getting it? So, not like strictly that just if you make good stuff, people will come. But I believe that if I make good, interesting things, the right people will come if I keep doing it. No, there's no guarantee that one video that's amazing will get a ton of people. But if you know, the goal is for me, if I make enough good things, then YouTube algorithm magic and hopefully more and more word of mouth, because then people don't have to rely on algorithm things, as that gets, that's just so unreliable. But the hope is the right people eventually will find something interesting. Or, maybe they see one thumbnail of mine and they're like, he looks like an idiot. Why is he doing YouTuber thumbnail faces? But then, but the title could have been interesting. Maybe. But I'm not gonna go for it. If someone in their recommended sees enough of like, oh, that could be interesting. Maybe it's the same guy. Maybe he's got something to say. Then maybe eventually people will find it. So yeah, it's just with uploading more, I want to, but it's hard to make videos that I find interesting. It's once I have a good idea, I can do it relatively quickly. But it takes a while to come up with something that's interesting. Which is why there is sometimes that like wild gap. I think I very rarely make on a scale of like fine to pretty great. Maybe it sounds bad, but at least the way I see my own videos, I think I will either make something pretty great, like not like a 10 out of 10, but I think I make either like 7 out of 10s or 4 out of 10s and never 5.5 out of 10s. It's either my you shouldn't use USB sticks anymore video, where it's like, well, it's kind of useful, but it's not that interesting, or it's the FreeBSD gaming video, where I'm like, wow, that was it was just good. Um, so um, that's kind of where that's kind of why you see that gap. It's really hard to come up with ideas that are interesting for me, and even harder to make ones that make good videos as opposed to like a blog post or something. Um, um, I prefer the less but interesting approach. Fillers are boring and make me uninterested in any channel fast. Attention span of a squirrel here. I hope, I hope by extension, just like because it's the topic that we're talking about, I hope even with the videos like the don't use USB sticks one, that my channel falls into that. Like, do you feel like the less cool videos are still good enough to not be like, that's just filler, that's just like, nah. Like honestly, like I'm just curious because that's something I struggle with. It's like, just because I'm not making the best thing, it's not filler. It's still something I find interesting. It's just there's a gap sometimes, um, in how super interesting they are. Just bagged an MX Brio because it says Linux support. Didn't play it in that year. No, didn't play it in yet though, so no idea. I'm normally very good at reading. And then when I get flustered, I'm extra bad. Not flustered, just like when I'm multitasking. I'm thinking about what to say, but I'm also trying to think about saying what I'm reading right. But yeah, I hope that my channel is one that people can come to and be like, this is gonna be a good video. I've liked what I've seen so far. I'm not anyway. I despise, however, the recipe LTT, for example, is going for. Interesting. Um, hmm. I'm curious, like, uh, in regards to LTT videos, like, what about them? So when I have talked about figuring out my niche, um, I've noticed like LTT is sometimes very much going in the direction that I would like to go, and sometimes very not. Like they had, what was the video? They had like a mouse at some point, and also like they had a keyboard later. They had gotten some like really old Russian like mice and keyboards. There were two different videos for each, and they were like, oh yeah, and we have like these schematics for them. So we got a microcontroller and we programmed it and we got them working again, and let's game on it. That I find very interesting. Um, like from LTT. I'm not sure what I would say I don't find interesting. I don't really. I guess I don't find like reviews super interesting. Um, is there anything I would call out? I would not. I still watched it. I still find, um, if I watch LTT stuff, I sorry. Let me rephrase things because I was like halfway through forming a sentence and just started speaking it. If I watch I will always pretty much watch every single LTT upload because I am pretty confident that they're going to be great on average. But I would say the least interesting kind of thing. There was a recent one where I spent $10,000 to play Euro Truck Simulator 2. I don't find that interesting or super interesting. I find that sometimes those videos can have hidden gems in them where it's like, this is some super crazy piece of technology or whatever. But a lot of the time, those videos just end up being, here are a ton of things that cost a ton of money. Marvel at them. It's like those kind of things. I'm not super interested in. But then the more recent, like, AMD's recent laptops, they fumbled the ball, but also kind of made them amazing. That was very interesting because yes, it's a bunch of expensive things that I can't afford again, but they were going deeper than just, like it's two laptops and they can both do web browsing. I enjoyed the fact that it was mentioning, it went deep into the interesting parts of those expensive things. Like, these two laptops, they cost similar amounts. This is the ARM one, this is the AMD one. Here's the background between both of them. Like this one has a higher power profile. However, it's made less efficiently. This one's made more efficiently. But wait, you wouldn't assume that because like ARM versus AMD. Oh, actually, I don't think the AMD one was about. I think the AMD one. You know what? I'm gonna not go into too much detail because I kind of feel like I'm getting some of their more recent laptops videos mixed up. It was an interesting video. I like those kind of deep dives in the same way that I like a lot of what Gamers Nexus does. I find those more interesting where it's a combination of like I couldn't have done that myself, and this is very smartly done. Like there are quite a few things that I think I could, have an interesting take on, but so many other people have done them that there's no point. Whereas like, what's a good example? I guess the Switch Linux video recently. There are like forum posts and blog posts about like Switch Linux, but I don't think I saw anyone look at it how I did, where I was like, well, yeah, but everyone knows you can like emulate games or whatever. What if I try and launch like VS Code? Like, what if I talk about like the web browsing experience a bit and the fact that, well, maybe you could program on it. Maybe we shouldn't be comparing this, like, the Switch running Linux to the Switch running, Horizon or like whatever Nintendo calls the built-in OS. What if we compare it to like a mini PC? Like those kind of things I find interesting. Whereas just product showcases for the sake of being expensive, for the sake of showing off expensive things, I'm less interesting. I find less interesting. But then I say that, but I have done a few product showcases myself, and like the reverse engineered software, or like we need reverse engineered software video. That was basically just me talking about a bunch of different apps. But I think that worked because they were accessible. Like I wasn't telling you to marvel at these things that you will never touch. It was like they all have something in common. It's this really cool thing. By the way, I suggest that you try them. And I think that's what separates mine from the similar category of videos, like the videos in that category that I don't enjoy. But I'm not sure. Yeah, it has been interesting. It's been interesting talking to someone else about that. there anything else? You know, you've got me live right now. Which means maybe answers will be less coherent, especially because apparently my throat hurts. I'm sorry, not hurts, but apparently I'm not talking like I normally would. Um, I guess I just donated blood recently, but I'm not usually like tired after that. Um, so I'm maybe not as coherent as I might respond if I have a little bit to respond on Discord. Is there anything you want to ask or say? Can do that live now. And then if it's some amazing, profound thing, then it's super nice that it got into the 2,000 subscriber stream. And if it's not, well, we're like 40 minutes in, so no one's going to be watching this VOD in a few years. Probably in a few days, realistically. And if not, probably probably just get going. And I guess while I wait and see if I get anything or not, programming, yeah, I think I guess like a something I have been doing that I haven't really shown much in videos, but that relates to what I've said, is like I really want to make sure that I can get good at programming because I just very much enjoy making things and then showing them off. And hopefully that will relate to me being able to be the source of more interesting things rather than just, reporting on other interesting things. Do good deeds and talk about it. I'd like to donate blood, a less irrational fear of needles. I'm also very scared of it. I always, just before it, I'm like, I've already committed. I'm not going to say no, but I really don't like this. And then I always tell the person now that I've done it 3 times, because I can only have done it 3 times. Like as soon as I turned, like as soon as I was allowed to, and like meeting the criteria for it, I was like, may as well. But then there's the 3-month gap that you need to leave in between each thing. But every time I've done it, I've always been like, I'm gonna go because like I should, everyone who can probably should, but also, person who's doing it, I'm gonna look away while you put it in my arm because I don't like it. But yeah, I just hope to be able to create interesting things more and show those things off rather than just going, look at those cool things. I'd like to be able to be the source of it, which is something that I've seen, like I said, like when we talked about LTT, something that I have seen more, just seen more of from LTT as of late, which is cool. But then also, sometimes not. Like there's the 2 extremes of like the making this super old mouse work isn't that amazing, and then like the who has the worst or who has the best setup at LTT. Like that's just like a compilation video that like I'm not super interested in. But I still watch it because I still expect it to be far, far better than any other thing. Like LTT is still one of my favorite channels. I could choose to be super negative and be like, not all of their content is literally perfect. But for me, it's like anywhere from good enough to excellent. And that's far better than most channels do. And I'm hoping that I will start falling into that range as more goes on. Setup is the best, of course. Exactly. You make interesting videos, but getting an audience tailored to it may be difficult. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going through. And my hope is that persistence does end up being key. If I just keep going, more and more people find it interesting. And success. And I'd already count what I have as success. So extra success. If things stayed as they are, I don't think, like, if things stayed exactly as they are, I don't think I could pretend that I would be like, oh, well, that's completely fine. I'm completely happy with that, to see all the graphs just go straight along. I want to see that I'm doing better. But also that's only because I am like, I don't look at YouTube Studio too much, but I also just in general a lot I'm quite data driven. Um, but I don't actually a ton like looking at YouTube's data and trying to do things because of it. Um, I just like I like the more surface level things of I believe that I made something interesting and YouTube's data is showing me line goes up, and more than that even, things like this where I have a chat that isn't full of people, but everyone in the chat is like a person who's interesting, you know? Like, rather than the channels who seem to beg for subscribers, or even if not literally beg, like do giveaways and that kind of thing. And you end up with a ton of people there, but who like don't say anything. Um, like, like I hope I'm getting across that well. When it's something that happens to my videos occasionally, but just I think that my channel gets relatively few people who just like are pretty much completely incoherent. Like you go to have a conversation with chat and like they're just saying nonsense or saying stupid things or being mean to people around them, like that kind of thing. And same goes in comments. I don't think I get that. Everyone here is interesting, and I want to cultivate that, even if it means slower growth. And that matters more, even if I do care about both, than just seeing the line go up. My favorites are still your VR videos because they brought me here in the first place, because it's hard to wrap the head around this without having the tech. Especially for a Nintendo free household. Interesting. Well, maybe soon you will get a VR on Linux video. Though it would be with the original Vive, not the Vive Pro 2, because Linux, all good things. That's interesting. I'm actually, I'm in the process of, and I'm starting to see it happen now. There are no videos yet that are as evergreen. Actually, I will acknowledge, just so I'm not leaving. Well done on the 2K, not long to 5K. We can hope. But yeah, I appreciate it. I don't. We'll see how it goes. The related to the VR thing, I have no videos so far that are as evergreen as the AL VR videos. They are consistently 1, 2, and 3 most popular every month, every 48 hours. Every by whatever metric I look at, they are the ones that consistently do well, and it's my goal is to get what's supporting the channel off that, because I would like to make more, VR videos still in the future. I still push my luck with companies occasionally. Obviously, I've gotten nowhere on it. You would see videos on it, but I still reach out to companies and just be like, I know you're not going to send me this, but also you don't ask, you don't get. Would you like to send me a big screen Beyond? The answer is obviously no. But like, eventually, originally before I got the Pico 4, I was like, hey Pico, would you be interested in anything? And they were like, no. But in a nicer way. But hopefully, VR things still have a place in the future of this channel. But like ALVR stuff is still, it used to be like 80-90% of the views this channel gets. Now, what would it be? Like 60%. Like, it's dropping, which is what matters. Um, what would that be? Let's get the calculator. Normally it's around that, so that plus that plus okay. Oops, I did it backwards. I'm doing math. Okay. ALVR still accounts for, like, yeah, around 60% of the views this channel gets on average. So today, it's much smaller because I just released a new video that's doing exceptionally well. It is the fastest growing video I've ever released. I released it at 10:30 this morning. It's been 7 hours. It has 1,000 views. Awesome. But normally days aren't like that, and it's normally ALVR at the top. I want to make enough good, interesting things that I'm not relying on the success of the ALVR videos. Not because I expect them to do terribly, sometime soon and end up with no views. Though that will eventually happen. Like, what do I know? Eventually, it turns out someone in the background has been working on BLVR instead of ALVR, and actually everyone loves that now. It's better in every way. Everyone moves. No one's searching for ALVR anymore. Half of my views just disappear, which is better than 90% of my views disappearing. So I'm trying to make those have less of a significant impact, but I also recognize, I still wanted to make interesting videos. I still think they're pretty interesting videos. They're just not a topic that I can talk about anymore because I don't have I don't have a standalone headset anymore even if I wanted to milk ALVR, and I don't want to milk ALVR. Even when I still had a standalone headset, I was like, this is basically the last one because I want to cover everything. It's the video with the red thumbnail. Yeah, I was mind blown when one of mine reached 1,000 views for the first time. I think it's important to remember this feeling once channel grows. Yeah, I still am. I think a lot out of the last 10 of my videos have reached that point. But a lot still don't. The last video kind of flattened out, and then the video before that got 3,000, and the one before that flattened out at like 650, and then the one before that was the FreeBSD video, and that got like 6,000, and then the one before that nearly got 1,000, and then it flattened out. The one before that got about 400, and then it flattened out. But then the one before that got 2,500, flattened out. The one before that got 200, and then flattened out. So I think I'm making better and more interesting things. But because there are still videos that do low hundreds, which is still a lot. Like, it still takes long enough to reach over 100 views on one, that even 100, I'm like, that's still a milestone that I get to see, and I'm like, yes, that's not guaranteed for me. Still. So it's like, the fact that it varies so much kind of keeps me on my toes still. I'm like, really hope it does, like above 200 views after, a week or so. And obviously now it feels kind of stupid saying that because a lot of them do, but some of them just barely do. So it's, yeah, like 1,000 views is still a significant amount for me. And it's hard to imagine it not being, where, obviously for some people it really isn't. But it still is, and I expect it to be for a long time. Yeah, I just hope I can keep making interesting things. I can keep finding, interesting videos that aren't full of rubbish should bring interesting viewers. And interesting viewers talk to, have the benefits of building a nice community and potentially growing things more organically by someone just being like, I saw this guy, I saw Isaac, he's interesting, check him out. I like the idea of things growing more like that and the community ending up more like that than relying on, the algorithm to be like, well, these are the videos that I should make because the data says so, and doesn't matter if like not thinking about who ends up in my audience. I don't want to end up being like that. Do I have anything else? I don't think so. Sounds healthy to me. That's the hope. I guess actually I should ask while I've got you here if you're if you're still here. It's not something that will happen soon. It will maybe happen never. If Patreon and YouTube memberships were got to the point where they could completely replace it, I would have no interest in ever doing it because I could sustain myself fine off that, and then why make things more awkward with other things. But if I grew to the point of the Skillshares of the world being like, I want you to read ads, how much would that annoy you? Knowing the fact that you can just skip. I just want to know. I am not frustrated by it, except for when people make them awful to skip. If someone's like, and I want to tell you about this, but first, I'm still talking about this, but also, sponsor thing, organic thing, sponsor thing, organic, and then you can't really do that. But for non-intrusive things, I'm happy to see it. If someone came to me, would that be the kind of thing that you would understand as just like, benefiting me, and therefore it benefits you because you get better media and you can still skip it? Or is that too far? Because on it, I don't know what people think. I know a lot of people accept it, but as I was saying before, I want to make actually quality things. Yeah. As long as you do it at the start, gets out of the way, and I jump the chapter markers. Yes, that's pretty much what I would expect, and that's pretty much what I do oftentimes. Yeah. As far as I see it, as long as they are reasonable to get past if you don't want to experience them, they are good. And it's good to generally hear that as well, from both of you. Yeah. Okay. It's good to have heard that. I still don't expect it to be. Even if I reach 10,000 subscribers, no one is going to want to come to me and be like that. I would just like to know before it's relevant, so that I have more time to be prepared for if it ever does. Because I want to do it properly. Yeah. Yeah, I get that everyone wants to earn money. I decided for myself ads over my cold dead hands. I don't run a business of this, though. I understand it's a different case for others. Yeah, in my case, I never expect this to be a business. Or it's never gonna be my it's never gonna be my job. I don't expect it to be. But I also recognize that if it ever were to, so many people, it's not the same because it's working for it, but it's crazy far out enough that I think they apply similarly. So many people end up broke and doing stupid things after they win the lottery. They have not ever had such success and didn't you know, wean into it, and it caused huge problems. If it turns out through magic, pretty much, that one day this could be, even just a minimum wage paying job, I would take this paying minimum wage over something that pays a bit better. Um, you know, like that would I would rather do this than something that pays a little bit better but is a worse job. So I'm like, if I ever did, I just want if it ever was the case that that could be done, I would want to be prepared for it. Is all, and like I think about that sometimes. Um, but really, like already, I'm succeeding. This is more than I ever expected to get. Um, so succeeding. Um, Man, I can't even regex anymore. Late and sleepy. Well, that's all right because I know I said it like half an hour ago. I think we're mostly out of things to say. Um, oh, and I never acknowledge. I'm very. I like read it unless I did read it out loud. I'm sort of like I'm kind of frazzled a little bit. The I found your channel through someone mentioning your BSD video on Twitter. I didn't know about anyone doing that, but also that's awesome and exactly what I want. Um, so that's really cool to hear. Um, it's nice to hear that that's happening because it's hard to imagine in the third person. Um, I don't know if saying in the third person is even like it's hard to imagine someone else being like two people observing a conversation where someone's like, this guy's amazing, watch him, or whatever, or just like, I enjoyed this video, okay, I will, and I'm the subject of it. Um, I can't imagine that, so I don't know what it ends up being like, but it's cool to hear that it happens in some way. Probably not with them being like, this is super awesome, but you know what I mean. Um, and hello, congrats on 2K by MC and a TV, yeah, a TV mode. I couldn't quite tell because dark mode behind it. Um, I appreciate it. But yeah, I think we're I think we're good. 2,000 subscribers has been great. I I am I'm just really happy where things have ended up. And I just hope they keep getting better. And I also hope it gets less warm in England, because you can probably tell that like the state of my hair has deteriorated during this stream. It's really warm. Um, so those are my two hopes. Global warming is over and I do better at videos and more people like them. Equally weighted. Well, good luck. Looking forward to more of your content. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to other people looking forward to it. I can so relate to that. Yeah, it's so warm. It's the worst being this warm. I kind of hate that I've like started saying things ironically, but now I do describe things as like the worst because I used to say it as a joke and now I just mean it. But yeah. I realized I said it before when I thought things would end. But now that they really, really are, to my 2002 subscribers, someone has joined. Two people have joined since I started. Brain stops working past 25 Celsius. Except for me, it's like past 20 Celsius. It's ridiculous. A huge thanks to Russell Willis, Ducky, Hightech, and PT1997. I should have, in OBS, I should have gotten the little bar that comes across the screen. Wait, let me do it. I'm gonna have this. Everyone can click off now if you're ready. And then I have to like outline. I I don't know how to make the outline bigger. and then I filter, add, scroll. And then I guess I have to add some spaces. There we go. Huge thanks to Russell Willis, Ducky, Hightech, and PT1997. I really appreciate it. Live hacking, exactly. Hopefully you've enjoyed it so far, and hopefully you'll still enjoy it by the next time I do these. I tend to do it when my subscriber number doubles, but then I did go from 2,000 to from 200 to 500 subscribers, so maybe I'll do 2,000 to 5,000 instead of 4,000. I guess we'll see how long it takes. Just know that I really appreciate what everyone in the community like does for me, like to allow me to be able to make such interesting things. And hopefully you also enjoy watching. I appreciate it, and I think I'll end it. Bye. Am I sure I want to stop the screen?